Hello and welcome. This is Jess Erickson, life coach, somatic healer, and embodiment guide, here to help you create whatever change it is that you are wanting in your life. Today's video is going to be a guided practice on processing emotions. So what I will be guiding today is exactly what I did years ago when my now husband and I were first dating. So we had been dating for about 7 months. We moved in together. It was awesome. And I would get very activated during certain times, during certain things that would happen in conversations or just certain instances. This fear of abandonment that was very intense would suddenly flood my body and rush throughout my system. I also had doubt of my worthiness around being loved and being loved so well. So that unworthiness, that insecurity, that self-doubt would also show up at different times. And when I was either feeling the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, the unworthiness, what I would want to do is I would want to push my husband away. Well, he's not my husband. I'd want to push my boyfriend away. I would want to pick fights. I would want to just be like really dramatic so that, if he left me, because he might do that at some point, well, at least it's now and not later, right? And so even though I really wanted connection and love and intimacy, when I would have those emotional states and reactions and my nervous system would kind of get jacked, I would want to create the exact opposite and create disconnection, fights, push him away, just basically. And I did this exact thing that I'm going to lead you through now. And it helped me so much because it helped me to just feel and allow those feelings without reacting to them. So that is why processing your emotions is so important and valuable. Why learning how to do it is because when we don't know how to do that, we are much more likely to just be reactive, to feel the intense fear and react from it and push someone away, to have the insecurity come up and be acting from that place in our relationships and showing up like that. And we're more likely to create the exact opposite of what we want in our relationships. When we learn how to process our emotions in our body, we're able to make more space, more room for conscious choice. How do we actually want to respond to this? How do we want to show up in relationships? What do we want to do from here? And the more that you practice processing emotions on your own in the way that I'm going to lead you through today, the more that you will be able to, in time, actually allow and process those emotions when you are with others. So let's say that, like with my example, my boyfriend at that time and I go out on a date and I get really activated. That fear comes up, that insecurity. Well, after I had been practicing this for a while on my own, I would be able to notice it and be like, oh, woo, it's rushing through me. I can feel like the anxiety through my chest, right? It feels really uncomfortable. It feels constrictive. It feels like all these creepy crawlies throughout my system. And I would be able to just allow it and still be able to connect and resist that urge to react to it because I've done this work. All right, so I suggest doing this in a quiet space. You can do it laying down if that feels good to you. You can do it sitting. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable. If you are sleepy, you might want to sit up for it. So you can sit up on some pillows like I am here, cross-legged. You could sit in a chair. You're welcome to lay down, like I said. You could have your knees up and then brought in together so you don't have to hold them up. or you could just be laying flat. So go ahead and get comfortable. And when you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good and if that helps you to connect inward. If it takes away from your experience or it doesn't feel good, then I invite you to simply soften your gaze and begin to see if you can notice what is happening in your body. And the first thing that I invite you to do is to label whatever it is that you are feeling or experiencing. So what would you call this emotion or this feeling? What you call it doesn't so much matter as connecting to it and feeling it does, but it's a useful exercise to get more and more in touch with your body and your body's experiences. And next, I invite you to see where you are feeling this emotion in your body. You can think of it as, where are the vibrations located? Where are these sensations? It could be all over your body. It could just be in your heart or in your gut or in your head. But notice where you feel it and where you feel it the most. And now what you will do, if it feels good, is you're now going to focus your attention and your awareness on that body part, on that area of your body. And you're going to breathe in and out of this area as if you could directly breathe in and out of your heart space or your gut or your left arm, wherever you're feeling this emotion. And see if you might be able to soften even just a little bit around the experience. See if it is possible to welcome it to be here, to welcome these sensations, and to allow them, to create space for them. And then continuing to focus on this area of your body and these sensations, begin to describe them to yourself in detail. And I will lead you through that by asking you a series of questions. So are these sensations moving or are they still? Do they feel heavy or do they feel light? And keep in mind, it can be something in between. How big of an area does this emotion, does this vibration take up in your body? What are 2 to 3 adjectives that you could use to describe these sensations? For instance, is it tingly? Is it crunchy? Or is it pulsating? And now I invite you, if it feels okay and you feel good staying here, to again breathe into this area of your body, into this emotion and this experience, And exhale. See if you can allow yourself to soften into it. See if you can welcome it to be here. Continuing to bring your focus and awareness to what you are feeling in your body. You can imagine this emotion, these sensations, as if they were sitting on a bench, and you're walking up to that bench and you're sitting next to this emotion as a friend would. Maybe you're even able to put your arm around this emotion. And just for now, allow it to be here as fully as you can, welcoming it, opening up to it. And now I invite you to notice how the emotion or the sensation feels now. You might notice it has shifted. You might notice it's the same. Both are perfectly normal and perfectly fine. What we are doing is simply noticing. We are creating awareness around how this feels in our body, and we're creating the space for it to be here. We're bringing our presence to our internal experience. And as you feel ready, you can continue here for a few more minutes if you'd like. But if you're ready to end the practice, then I invite you to take just a few moments with your eyes still closed if they are closed, or with your gaze remaining soft and unfocused if they are open. And release any sort of awareness or focus, and just allow yourself about 30 seconds to just integrate the experience. So you're just allowing for some stillness. You can also think of it as a bit of rest, but it's a way to let the process really land in your system. And then when you feel ready, you can begin to move your body. You may want to stretch. You may want to wiggle your fingers and toes. And you may want to gently open your eyes if they were closed. You could take a moment to look around your space using your whole head and neck, just taking in your room and the environment around you. And you may want to place a hand on your heart if that feels good, and just bring in the feeling of gratitude to yourself, or a feeling of celebration that you tried this, that you did this. I would love to hear about your experience if you try this. Please know that this is a video and a practice that you can come back to time and time again. And the more that you do this, the more that you learn how to process your emotions like this, the more freedom that you will have, the more conscious choice that you will have in the way that you act and behave and show up in the world and in relationships. And I can tell you from my own experience, it is so liberating and empowering to be able to feel something and not react to it. It's amazing. So keep going. Please share with me in the comments below if you did this and what your experience is like, or if you have any questions. All right, have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you soon.